Everyone, it's me, Donna. Okay, I'm making this video for the folks out there who are looking into your family tree and your DNA and all that stuff, who may have a deceased parent, or or you have a parent that does not want to take a DNA test, but you do have at least one parent that does, or say like a grandparent that does. This can help you find out what you have gotten from one parent as opposed to the other parent. Say like if you've gotten Italian and you want to know which parent you got it from, there are tools out there now that will let you, find that information out, as long as at least one parent has taken it, or even a grandparent. But the thing about the grandparent is there will be some missing pieces, as far as, because you're only going to get like 1/4 of your DNA, or 25%, from a grandparent. So you have to take that into consideration, with these DNA tests. But at least if, a certain ethnicity falls within that will help you at least figure that part out, if you got it from that grandparent or not. But anyway, let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's get into it, okay? All right. For starters, as far as AncestryDNA goes, all right, they do have some new features where you can compare your parents, the DNA that you got from one parent as opposed to the other parent, but it's up to you to figure out which one you got it from, unless they've taken the DNA tests on this website as well. But if neither one has taken this DNA test, then it's up to you. Luckily, my mother took a 23andMe test not too long ago, so I can now figure out, even on AncestryDNA, I can figure out what I have gotten from her as opposed to my father, who's deceased. And he did not take any kind of DNA tests. He died before all this really exploded as far as the DNA community. So as far as this goes, but as I have said before, the one major gripe that I've got against AncestryDNA is the fact that they do not go beyond, say, your 4th or 5th great grandparent, and they don't do too great of a job at that, because they still leave stuff out, and I will show you that. But that's as far back as they go for people who don't have a subscription. It's my understanding that supposedly, if you do buy a subscription, that they will open up the through lines feature a little bit to go on back a little bit further. I don't know how far back they're supposedly going, and I don't know the validity of that information. That's just my understanding of it. Personally, I think they should just charge a one-time fee and let you go on back further instead of tying it to a subscription. I think the subscription part should just be limited to just information, like their, all the information that they have on their database, as far as, looking names and locations and stuff like that. As for your DNA, because what's bad is if you buy a yearly subscription and say it runs out, then there goes the rest of that data. When that subscription runs out, then they lock down that extra part of your ethnicity that would be in your report. I just think that's kind of ridiculous, but that's just my opinion. Each person has their own. But let me show you what I'm talking about as far as the through lines. Right here is their through lines feature, and like I said, it only goes back, for people who don't have a subscription, it only goes back to your 5th great grandparent. At least it does for me. That's as far as it's linking me up to other people. And what you do is you can click on these, and it will show you other people who also have taken a DNA test, who are kin to you, who have done a tree, and it's linking their ancestors up to your ancestors. So that's what this feature is about, okay? But like I said, it's only to the 5th great grandparent, okay? Or at least for the people without a subscription. All right, and I do not plan to get a subscription just for that. The day that they actually just make it a one-time fee, and if it's affordable, I will gladly pay that to take a deeper dive into my ethnicity, but I'm not paying a subscription for that. Okay. All right, so now let's go to the part where they compare you to both parents. Okay. All right, right here it says that parent 1 gave me this and parent 2 gave me this. Okay. I have figured out, thanks to 23andMe, my mother's test on that, and I will show you. I have figured out basically what I have gotten from her, as opposed to, let's see here, to what I've gotten from my father. Okay, so this is a comparison between me and my mother. Okay, I now know, and at first I did not know this until she took the test. I used to think that I got my West African, which is the sub-Saharan African that I have. I used to think that it come from my father. As it turns out, no, it actually came from my mother. Okay, I did get other African from my father, and that shows up in some other tests, especially like Genome Link, the new global ancestry thing that they've gotten, as well as GEDmatch and you know, some other places. I have found out that I do have more African than just this sub-Saharan African, and that other African, most of it does come from my father, but this sub-Saharan African comes from my mother. Okay, all right, and I know that it's on my 4th chromosome, I believe. But what's funny about AncestryDNA is that they do not have me listed as having this sub-Saharan African, even though 23andMe does. But the funny part is, in that same exact spot on my 4th chromosome, it's showing me as having an unassigned. Okay, but yet this company claims they've got sub-Saharan African in their database. They've got all these other regions in their database, okay, to where they have all this information, but yet for some stupid, unknown, ridiculous reason, they cannot actually tell me that I have sub-Saharan African. But let me show you right here. See, in this same spot, this is AncestryDNA's chromosome browser, okay, but then I can go to my 23 chromosome browser, and lo and behold, in this same exact spot, there is my sub-Saharan African. Wow. Amazing that. So why they can't show me this, I don't get it. They're supposed to be the best of the best of the best, but yeah, they can't even identify that. That's sad. Anyway, I don't want to gripe too much about that. Okay, but at least the good news is at least they have a browser now. Because I know a lot of people have been complaining, you know, that they don't have, you know, a browser and all that stuff. And now they finally have one. Okay. And there's some other spots I've noticed. And since now I know that my top strands up here come from my mother. She's my parent 1 on AncestryDNA. So the bottom one belongs to my father. So there's right here on this bottom strand on my 18th chromosome is another unassigned region that I got from my father. Okay. All right. So that's that. All right. As for like I just showed you, 23andMe. They've got, like I said, this feature right here. Like if one parent does the DNA test, you can see what you did get from them and all that. Okay, now what you can do is if they have uploaded their DNA to GEDmatch and you have too, then all you've got to do is go and compare yourself. Okay, this is me. Let me narrow it down a little bit. All right, this is the K13 Global Punt DNA model, or DNAL model. This is where I ran my DNA through, and this is my chromosome painting, the browser, and this is showing everything that I got from both parents. Okay, so that's my whole 22 chromosomes. They don't include the 23rd. It's just 22 chromosomes that are featured. Okay, so it's showing everything that I got from both parents. Okay, then what I can do is I can go to that other feature that I had mentioned, and I ran both my mother's kit as well as my kit, and as you can see right here, it's running both our kits against each other on the Punt DNAL K13 Global Model, and it's showing me what she gave me, and it's blacked out what she didn't give me. So the black part is what we don't have in common, and the rest is what we do. Okay, so there's that, and it tells you up here what all you've got, and it's all color coded. Okay, all right, so what I can do is just kind of go back and forth, and I know from this right here, this area up in here on this third chromosome, which I believe to be South Asian, I know that a lot of South Asian that I have has come in on my father's side, and as you will see, it's showing up right here as my total, but when I compare it against my mother, it showed up in black. It's blacked out. So that tells me that my mother did not give me this. My father did. Okay, so that's a pretty good way to kind of figure some of this stuff out. Okay, so as you can see, this is what my mother gave me. Oops. And this is what both parents gave me. Okay, and I even did a little animation that goes back and forth showing what one parent gave me and what I got as a total. Okay, so that, you know, that's pretty cool. I'll make this a little bit bigger. So, you know, that's pretty cool. So if you are doing DNA research and you want to kind of find out, also let me mention this new feature on Genome Link. If you run your DNA through it, like say like you take a 23andMe test or some other company, it will let you upload your DNA and you can pay a fee, and it's got different features that you can run your DNA through, and it will let you know if you have certain things. So for instance, I went ahead and did the whole global thing, and it showed me all these different ethnicity groups that I have. I wish I could get a hold of it. This is one thing that's annoying to me, is these little thin bars that companies are now using to for you to scroll up and down. I don't like that because it's hard to get a grip on that. But anyway, so it shows everything. And if you'll notice, and I'm sure some people have, a lot of times this will either be over or under 100%. And the reason why that is, and I'm assuming here, is the fact that they have either rounded up or rounded down when it comes to your DNA. Say like if you've got 1% African, you may have like 0.8%, but since it's above, you know, 0.5 or whatever, then they go ahead and round up. So if that's what their findings are, and if it's below a certain thing, then they may round down, and it may not even be included or whatever. But I have noticed that's why that it's not completely, you know, 100%. It might be 104, 100, whatever. And like I said, it's because they've, you know, went ahead and rounded up or whatever. Okay, so that's why it's that way, or at least that's what I would assume with my own common sense for this. Okay, all right, and this is their DNA browser, as I have mentioned in another video. This is pretty cool. And I also had mentioned where I got, it also shows my West African, or what can be known as the Sub-Saharan African that I have. It's showing it. Let's see. Right here, West African. And of course, it kind of looks flipped backwards as opposed to the other ones. Because if you'll recall, on the other ones, it had that part where it had the African right here on this spot. But with this browser, it's like it's flipped backwards, or at least it appears to be flipped backwards. I don't know if they're doing it on all the chromosome browsers or whatever, but that's how it looks on this one, on the chromosome 4. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. But you know, at least it's showing up, it's there. Which I know each company has their own way of doing their chromosome paintings and all that. So that they just may be going, instead of from left to right, they may be going right to left. I don't know. But anyway, I just know it's there. That's all I can say, is it's there. It's right there. So that's pretty cool. Okay. And so, I mean, that's pretty neat that you can just go down and scroll and see all this stuff that you got, you know, from your parents and great-grandparents and 10th great-grandparent, pretty much. I mean, that's cool. That's one thing that I'm glad that some of these companies are actually doing, is opening your ethnicity on back further to where you can find out, you know, what you might have gotten from a 7th great-grandparent, as opposed to just a 4th or 5th great-grandparent or a 3rd great-grandparent. You know, it's just neat to find out this stuff. So yeah, I was pretty pleased and excited to be able to finally explore this stuff. So my thing is, I just think that more companies, you know, especially MyHeritage, AncestryDNA, and 23andMe, I think they need to do a better job and open up, you know, that on further back. And if, like I said, if they have to charge a one-time fee, great, as long as it's affordable. But I'm just not thrilled with the whole subscription deal, but that's another gripe. But anyway, I hope that this video has been of some help to some of you guys. And, you know, if you have any questions that you think I might can answer, you know, feel free to put them in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys later. Bye.